Stop treating your small account like a lottery ticket and start treating it like a hedge fund. Growing a small account is the ultimate test of emotional control. Today, I am giving you the exact psychological blueprint to scale from 3 figures to 5 without losing your mind, your dignity, or your money. Most people believe that growing a tiny trading account is a mathematical problem. They think they need a secret strategy, a hidden indicator, or a magical win rate to turn $500 into $5,000. They spend months searching the internet, jumping from one guru to another, looking for a math equation that will finally solve their financial anxiety. The math is not your problem. The math of a 10% gain is exactly the same whether you have $500 or $500,000. A 10% gain requires the exact same chart, the exact same entry, and the exact same stop loss. It is not the math that changes, it is the emotional weight. You do not fail because your strategy is broken. You fail because you are a human being, trapped in a modern economy that demands constant cash, trying to force a tiny pool of capital to do something it was never designed to do. You are reacting perfectly logically to a system designed to strip you of your patience. The broker wants you to rush. The market wants you to rush. Your biology wants you to rush. You must decouple your emotional satisfaction from dollar amounts and reattach it to flawless execution. If you cannot manage the psychology of $500, you will financially self-destruct with $50,000. Here is how you actually fix it. Why is it practically impossible to hold a winning trade to your target on a small account? You do the work, you find the setup, you manage the risk, you enter the trade, and the market actually goes your way. You make $20 on a $200 account. Mathematically, this is an incredible 10% return. Hedge fund managers get magazine covers for doing that in a year. You did it in a Tuesday morning session. But you do not feel like a hedge fund manager. You feel insulted. $20 does not buy much in the real world anymore. It barely buys a decent lunch. So you look at that screen, you look at your perfectly executed 10% gain, and your brain completely dismisses it as a failure. You close the trade early, or you immediately double your leverage on the next trade, and you eventually lose everything. You probably think you have a greed problem, or a discipline problem, or a deep character flaw that makes you self-sabotage. You aren't greedy. Your brain just lacks a dopamine substitute. We are chemically wired to seek rewards that change our survival conditions. A 10% gain on a tiny account changes absolutely nothing about your life. Because $20 does not trigger a meaningful dopamine spike, your brain manufactures excitement through risk. If the reward does not make you feel alive, your nervous system decides that the danger of a massive, over-leveraged position will do the trick. You are not trading for money anymore. You are trading to feel something. To fix this, you have to gamify your trading. You must eradicate dollar signs from your screen. Change your profit and loss display to percentages or ticks. Stop looking at the cash value. Score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, based entirely on whether you followed your rules. Did you wait for the setup? 10 points. Did you manage the risk? 10 points. Reroute your dopamine to the process, because the dollar amount will only break your heart. Then there is the hidden tax you are paying on every single trade without realizing it. You sit at your desk, staring at a chart that looks like a neon heartbeat, hunting for massive 10-to-1 risk-to-reward setups, taking incredibly low probability trades, and wondering why you are constantly stopped out. You are subconsciously demanding a mathematically impossible performance from your trading system. You are doing this because of the desperation premium. You are projecting your real-world financial needs onto a microscopic account. The rent is due. The car needs new tires. The grocery bill is slowly resembling a mortgage payment. You look at your $500 account and you silently, desperately need it to be $5,000 by Friday. This makes you take trades that do not exist. You start seeing patterns in the noise. You convince yourself that a tiny pullback is a massive reversal, because you need it to be a massive reversal to pay the electric bill. It is perfectly rational for a human under financial stress to seek immediate relief. The market does not pay rent. You must acknowledge a harsh, uncomfortable truth. Your small account is not for paying bills. It is not for buying a car. It is not for escaping your job. Your small account exists for one reason only. It is for building the skill of compounding. That is it. It is a training ground. Remove the real-world financial burden from your equity curve, or the desperation premium will liquidate you every single time. This brings us to the great lie of the trading industry. You blow your live account, you feel terrible, and you tell yourself you are going back to the demo account to practice. You believe that clicking buttons on fake money will properly prepare you for transitioning back to a small live account. Demo accounts do not prepare you for anything. Transitioning from a demo account to a $500 live account is a psychological shock to the system. Demo accounts have zero emotional weight. You can lose 10,000 fake dollars and sleep perfectly fine. But small live accounts carry the absolute worst kind of emotional weight in the world. They carry the frustration of inadequacy. Because the capital feels so small, and because it is relatively easy to save up another $500 from your day job, you adopt a very toxic habit. You adopt the reset mentality. You take a bad trade, you go into drawdown, and instead of managing the risk, a quiet voice in your head says it does not matter. If you blow this 500, you will just fund another one next month. A reset is just organized failure. This mentality entirely destroys your risk management. It turns your trading account into a monthly subscription fee for a casino. You stop trading a system and start pulling a slot machine lever. You must treat your easily replaceable $500 account with the exact same terror, respect, and discipline as a $5 million proprietary firm allocation. There are no more resets. This is the only money you get. Protect it. Once you actually start doing this, you run into the next problem. The most dangerous phase of scaling a small account is not when you are losing. The most dangerous phase is when you are doing exactly what you are supposed to do. The plan seems incredibly simple on paper. You wait for high probability setups, you risk 1%, and you slowly compound the capital over time. Compounding a small account is painfully, agonizingly slow. Traders rarely lose control and blow their accounts out of fear or greed. They blow their accounts out of sheer, suffocating boredom. You stare at the screen for 3 hours. The market is chopping sideways. There is no volume. There is no trend. You are doing exactly what a professional does, which is nothing. But your brain hates nothing. You live in a world of constant stimulation, endless scrolling, and instant gratification, and now you are sitting in a silent room staring at a flat line. You begin to physically ache for action. You force a subpar setup, completely breaking your rules, not because you think it is a good trade, but just to feel engaged with the market. You risk your capital just to verify you still exist. Boredom murders the small account. You have to build a waiting framework. You cannot just stare at a blank chart and rely on pure willpower to keep your finger off the mouse. Have a designated, productive activity for the boring middle. Backtest historical data. Journal your previous trades. Study the macroeconomic calendar. Read a physical book. You must keep your brain occupied with the market without putting your capital at risk for a cheap dopamine hit. And if you fail at this, you will experience a very specific, very brutal chain of events. It starts as a normal day in the market. You take a few standard, perfectly acceptable losses. You drop $100 on your $500 account. You are now in a 20% drawdown. On a large account, a 20% drawdown is annoying but manageable. You still have plenty of capital to execute your edge. On a small account, a 20% drawdown feels mathematically fatal. You look at the remaining $400. The brain panics. It calculates how long it will take to recover that $100 using standard 1% risk. The timeline feels impossible. This leads directly to the infamous all-in revenge trade. You decide that the slow, methodical path is a joke. You max out your leverage, ignore your stop loss, and enter a random trade to get back to break even in one single, glorious shot. You do not care about the strategy anymore. You choose the quick death. The asymmetry of drawdowns on small capital warps your perception of time. You want the pain to end instantly. To survive this, you have to implement a psychological circuit breaker. When you hit a specific percentage drawdown for the day, you do not try to fix it. You do not sit there and stare at the red numbers. You must physically stand up, turn off the monitor, and walk away from the screens for 24 hours. No exceptions. No second chances. The market will be there tomorrow, but your money will not be if you stay in that chair. If you master the boredom, and you survive the drawdowns, you will finally experience success. And that is when you are in the most danger. The exact moment your account is at highest risk of going to zero is not during a cold streak. It is right after you finally double it. You have been disciplined for weeks. You followed the rules. You grew your $300 account to $600. You feel incredible. You feel invincible. You assume you have finally cracked the code and mastered the financial markets. You just got lucky twice. But the ego does not know that. So you look at your new balance, and you decide it is time to scale up. You immediately bump your risk per trade from $10 up to $50. The math seems fine, but there is a hidden flaw. Your nervous system is not emotionally prepared for the new dollar amount of the swings. This is the winning streak blow-up. You enter a trade at your new, heavier size. The market moves against you slightly. It is a normal fluctuation, but you are now losing $40 instead of $8. Your brain registers this as a massive threat. You freak out, you move your stop loss, you abandon every single rule that got you to $600 in the first place, and you lose the entire account in one afternoon of tilting. You cannot jump risk levels just because the capital allows it. You must use the stair-step method. Increase your risk gradually. Go from $10 to $15. Stay there for 2 weeks. Let your nervous system normalize to the new numbers. Let your emotional baseline adjust. Then go to $20. Scaling a small account is not about conquering the market. It is about tricking your own brain into accepting a slow, quiet, boring path to freedom. The system is rigged to make you sprint. The industry is built on your impatience. The algorithms are designed to shake you out. You win by refusing to play their game. Take the $20 wins, protect the tiny capital, accept the slow pace, forgive yourself for wanting it all immediately, and choose the quiet discipline instead. You are not just growing an account, you are building the mind that will eventually manage the millions.